Okay, so this is definitely not your problem, but apparently the floor is leaking in the studio. So you see the mess behind me if you're looking. Crates, more crates of records. Shout out DJ Effecto and Tita Helen. And boxes everywhere and a whole lot of fun, which means that you'll have to pardon the brevity of this episode because of the things I just told you. Which kind of kills the vibe of like what I wanted the theme of this one, which was like, well, I ain't need nothing. I ain't gonna hold you for a long time. I just wanted to check in. Let's check in and not tap in. Here we go. Hood politics, y'all. All right, so I am going to drag the homie right now, DJ Malski, who is off top, produced We Are the Culture, produced the People EP, a friend since 1995. That's how long I've known DJ Malski. A pillar out here in LA, a true friend, a real brother, my real friend. Like a lot of times in the industry, you don't have like real friends. But I have found you have friends that are text friends, voice memo friends, FaceTime friends. Whereas in the sense of how they insist on communicating with you, right? Coffee Black, the homie Bartholomew we had on here on Make Coffee Black Again from Memphis, he's a FaceTime friend. The boy call you on FaceTime and then put it to his ear so you looking at the side of his head. He just prefer to talk to you on FaceTime. That's just the way he prefer to talk to you, which is fine. It's just so funny. Malski is, I'm going to call you. Malski's a phone call friend. He may respond to a text, but he a phone call friend. Now, it's always a good call. You just have to make sure you got about 2 hours. He always understands that, like, if you got to go, if you like, oh, bro, I got like 10 minutes. Or if you like, hey, I got to slide. Let me call you back. He's never like, oh, man, I just wanted to, like, he's always like, all right, no big deal. He doesn't take it personal. He just prefers to talk to you. Real connections. I love it. But he'll talk to you for 2 hours and then in the way that black people talk, be like, well, I ain't need nothing, man. I'll just thinking about you, praying for you. You know, tell the family I love them. Like, just, nigga, we've been talking for 2 hours. What you mean you ain't need nothing? It is a black tradition. And you just catch up on everything, you know, how the kids, what you working on. And then with Malski, it's a lot of like, some of the schemes he working up in his music, in his career. He gonna pick your brain. He gonna tell you the idea. He gonna tell you what the Lord showed him. You know what I'm saying? That's my dog, man. But yeah, he a phone call friend. And shout out Bartholomew, Coffee Black. He a FaceTime and voice memo. He'd be like, gang, gang. He'll leave a 20, not 30. Let me not drag him out like that. It'd be like a 5-minute voice memo. I'm like, my dude, you just recorded a podcast for me right now. Like, I'm not gonna sit down here and listen to this podcast. Give me the cliff notes. I'm picking on them because they my friends. Like, these people are truly my friends. But it is a African American tradition to get you on the phone for 2 hours and then say, I ain't need nothing. So I'm about to hold y'all and just shoot the breeze with you about playing catch up with the news on some things that actually truly take more attention than this. That's the hard part about the era that we're in right now. So much happens so fast. And one of the feedbacks we got at the end of last year, at the end of last season was like, sometimes the stuff when I finally get to it, it be dated. You know what I'm saying? Because I tried to, like I've said it before, I tried to bank episodes so that I'm not like stressing out on Monday, where a situation like this, which is the floor's leaking, that I could have had some shows in the bank, it would not have to worry about it. But you know what? That is just not the case right now. And not only that, Ian's on vacation right now. I can't even ask the producer because this nigga's on vacation. And let me tell you something. I'm broke as hell. I cannot afford to fix this plumbing issue that I'm going to have to investigate after I'm done recording this. So bear with us. Join the Patreon. Send me $1,000. Because, oh, shit. Oh, we can't afford this. I'm just keeping it real, y'all. All right. Anyway, but at least bombs are not being thrown across the border. But at least the police didn't murder my 18-year-old son, and out of a fit of rage, I didn't take a cop's life. At least that didn't happen to me. Let's get into it. Hood politics, y'all. All right. India and Pakistan. A bomb was tossed across the border in an area called Kashmir. Now, here's the issue with Kashmir. You know how Kansas City is in 2 states? You got Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas, KCMO. How you and you got to ask somebody, you from Kansas City, which part of Kansas City? KCK, KCMO. Okay, now imagine that, but there's sectarian, tribal, ethnic, religion, and political violence. Now you're in Kashmir. 2 sides, India and Pakistan, both claim Kashmir. The next question should be, India, Pakistan, Kashmir, what do they have to do with each other? Aren't they just nations right next to each other, enjoying peaceful lives? Well, no. Here's your first lesson, or here's another lesson in the continuing saga of no one liking colonizers, specifically the Brits. I am about to give you the most underwhelming, shortest, do not give it justice history of this moment right now. It's so bad, it's so bare minimum that it's almost embarrassing. But I just need to catch y'all up right now. A long time ago, Britain colonized India. Why? Nigga, tea and spices. Because if you've tasted British food, them tea and them spices is the best thing that could have happened to Britain. Now, there is a precursor to that, which was the East India Trading Co., which actually came from the Dutch, but we're not talking about that right now, which was probably the first multinational, international conglomerate that really did damage to a local population. But that's the East India Trading Co., for which I'm pretty sure there is a Behind the Bastards episode on. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Britain. Now, when Britain left, now here's where you should be like, history kind of rhyming, because the separations of Israel carving a nation out of an existing nation called Palestine, you know when that happened? when the British left. Because again, say it with me now, no one likes colonizers. There was this thing called the partition, which was a fancy way of saying, I'm going to draw an arbitrary line across this part of the ground. And I'm going to say, y'all Pakistan and y'all India. So the border between India and Pakistan completely made up. That was called the partition. Now, in that process, as they both gained independence from the UK, millions died. Now, why did they die? Well, you just broke up infrastructure. Because just think about this, if somebody just make up a line and draw it through your neighborhood, you may not have access to water no more. Because now the municipality that took care of the electricity and water in your neighborhood is in another country. Homie, you telling me to Trader Joe's, I need to get a passport to go to Trader Joe's, cuz? Like, this what I'm trying to say. Like, it just caused an unbelievable amount of chaos. So there's this mass killing, great disruption, people going back and forth between borders, trying to figure out what's going on. And eventually how the thing kind of like, when the dust settled, you have Pakistan being mostly Muslim. Okay, now again, I am doing a horrible disservice. These people are Pashti, like this is Pashtun, like mostly Muslim, and India being mostly Hindu. Now, you fast forward to what's going on right now with these far right Hindu nationalists who are out here messing around and like trying to commit some like ethnic cleansings against the Muslim population inside of India. Because again, borders are made up. People believe different things. But when you get this nativist nationalist type vibe, a lot of times that, again, unfortunately, is developed in response to or in connection to colonizers and imperialists. You start believing the hype that they put on you. And this isn't a diss to my Indian brothers and sisters, because we do it here all the time. Just like I told y'all last week, Black people, we often find our affinity to where them slave ships dropped us off rather than where we got on the boat. We looking at Central and South American Black people talking about they different. They just got off the boat earlier. What I'm trying to say is no one's exempt from this. Okay? What you got to do is stay woke and remember that a lot of this sectarian violence that is not necessarily tribal, that is not necessarily cultural, is a product of imperialistic supremacy. Anyway, Modi, who is probably, I kind of don't know how to say this except that like he's probably the most effective dictator we've seen in our time. I kind of like, I know last week I talked about information circles, and I did get a few people inside of my comment section saying I got the story all wrong about Burkina Faso, which you might be right. One man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. You might be right. Nobody's a monolith. There is no place on earth that's a monolith. You might be right. I might be hearing a whole lot of Wagner Group propaganda put out from them. You might be right. I ain't there. And you can't trust nothing coming out of Russia's mouth. I know that. I trust my people though. That's the thing. Anyway, with my own eyes, okay, we watching Hindu nationalists, a bunch of like militant groups, like be hella violent towards the Muslim population inside of India. There is a true, real situation going on down there. And Modi, is definitely looking away right now as far as the violence, the sectarian violence that's happening in India, because he kind of with the shits. But let's set that to aside for a second. Now, so the partition happened. We're going back to that. The partition happened. Guess what? August 14th, 1947. You understand that that's like barely a year and a half after the Zionists landed in Israel. I just don't understand why the British just no one likes a colonizer. Anyway, let's get to what's happening right now. So every year since then, there's always been skirmishes. They both sides have extremist groups. Like, let's not act like one of y'all is his victims. Both sides have extremist groups. They've been tossing things back and forth for a while. Matter of fact, it's a known story that like to this day is armed military right at the border right now and has been for years, ready to see who ready to pop off. Right. So that's kind of it's been going on for a long time. But the most contentious spot, like I said, is this area called Kashmir. Right. Nobody can agree who really run Kashmir. So they both kind of say they both run Kashmir, which is kind of what's happening in Libya right now. There's two governments in Libya. I just listen. The world is stranger than fiction. So Pakistan essentially, like I said, put themselves as the defenders of the Muslims of India, right? Because, like I said, there's this nativist movement happening in India where they feel like they're the suffering ones. Now, that being said, it's not like Pakistan are some Boy Scouts, because when they broke off East Pakistan to form Bangladesh, I don't know if you knew that Bangladesh was East Pakistan, right? They are going through also gross human atrocities towards a few of their resistance movements. Understand that everywhere in the world where there's repressive regimes, there's resistance movements happening. So your stance, if I should make you have a stance, which I can't, but if I were to make you have a stance, it'd be like your stance should be the stance that my father taught me. Solidarity with suffering people everywhere. So if you find somebody resisting suffering, find somebody standing up for the weak, I'm telling you right now, I'm on their side. You can have that. Now, that being said, just like last week, all y'all ain't freedom fighters. Kashmir is so contentious. At some point, somebody's going to fall back. Somebody's going to pop up. Somebody's militia groups are going to be happening. And like anywhere else in the world, sometimes the government, especially repressive regimes, will toss some bread at a few of these resistance movements to kind of like let y'all be the problem. Kind of like Iran, right? Iran with like Hezbollah and the Houthis. Like, let me just toss y'all some bread and y'all do the dirty work. Ain't nothing new under the sun. So that's been happening for a long time. Like, so many people have died over the last 30 years trying to get this stuff figured out. But like I said, a lot of that was concentrated in Kashmir. It's one of the most militarized cities on the planet. It's not dope. Okay. All leading up to last week. Okay. I just skipped so much. All right. I'm just trying to catch y'all up because Trump out here talking about, I told them to stop, so they stopped. Bruh, you haven't spoken to anyone. You gonna jump into, so you gonna handle this the way you handled the Russia-Ukraine war? How you was like, I'm finna fix this in a day? Oh, you finna fix this Israel and Hamas? You finna fix it in a day, Mr. You got it, right? Now you finna step into this one? My nigga. So finally now, on April 22nd, it was about 26 people were killed by a militant attack on tourists in India's Kashmir, right? Now at this point, there's no like actual evidence that the Pakistani government is behind this. A few militant groups have claimed it, have said like, yeah, this what we did. Now, here's the thing. Here's where it gets real crazy is they saying this is our get back. We just getting our get back for what India did to us. And when India responded, here's what's funny. India responded and they gave us a Tag, no hitbacks. We're not trying to escalate it, guys. We're just trying to get our get back from your get back. Well, I'm going to get back from the get back of your get back. Listen, this how wars happen, y'all. So if this is the first time you heard of any of this stuff, okay, first of all, you should be unbelievably surprised that only 24 people died. That should be the first thing you thinking. We talking about one of the most densely populated locations on the planet. This why this is so scary. Well, it should be scary because, nigga, it's war. It's war. This should be a problem already, right? But secondly, because both these niggas got nukes, all right? Now, they ain't got 45 of them, but you don't need 45 nukes. You need one, right? And again, borders are made up. Okay, there's no force field. If you toss a nuke at Pakistan, India dies. Okay, if Pakistan tosses a nuke at India, Pakistan dies. Do y'all like this? Why nobody's thrown a nuke? Because I think we all get you can't really. There's no one wins nuclear war. I can't believe I gotta say nobody wins nuclear war, guys. Nobody wins. Now, right now, little known groups, Reuters has a great article on it. Little known groups, these like small little like what we would call starter gangs, have been claiming the responsibilities for all these like relatively speaking skirmishes. But you have to remember again, this goes all the way back to 1947. Okay, and this is coupled with again. Kashmir is super isolated. They cut off, like, it's hard to get reports out of Kashmir, right? Modi, again, is a bona fide dictator, right? And is doing his best to push out Muslim populations. And Pakistan, you can't pretend like you a victim, okay? This one of them very few moments where truly you could say, there are no clear good sides on this, except for the people inside of both of these nations who are like, this is a y'all problem. Oh man, the best way to understand this was I was at the Scratch Bastard picnic this past weekend. Shout out Scratch Bastard, let me rock a verse. He's one of the dopest DJs. He's the best DJ I know. And that's hard for me to say, okay? Because I know legends. Oh my God, that guy's good at what he does. Okay, so let me fall back. He's good at what he does. Now, while we were there, I was talking to some of the homies about why a lot of us got out of gangbanging. Now, for me, graffiti saved my life. But there was an era when taggers were starting to become tag bangers, and then eventually they just became gangs. Okay. But then there was these things that we used to call like sort of like starter gangs, which were like kind of like when you're in junior high or high school and you're really not ready to shoot nobody, but you down to squab, right? And you got your beefs and stuff like that, but you throw parties, make money. It's like, but you're not really on the hood, right? Anyway, we was talking back and forth about stuff like that. And there was like, there are times that I know for me, I just like putting all the violence aside, I just couldn't keep up with the cheese man. Like, I don't know who we beefing with now. I really ain't got no problem. And a lot of times the beef be happening because one of the OGs just had his girl stolen by somebody from that other neighborhood that we really ain't got no problem with. But all of a sudden now we mad at him. And it's really just because the girl chose that dude. Now he our op. You know what I'm saying? Y'all lost in a dice game. I'm talking about when we was like little. You know what I'm saying? Like you lost the dice game. You feel me? You feel like you got disrespected at some party that I just happened to be at my grandma's house, so I didn't go to that party. So I missed that. Right. And I'm like, we mad at Juan Carlo now? We was in the same head start. Like, I have no problem with Juan Carlo. None of us really have no issue with nobody over there. Like, but now that you do, Now that y'all got problems, we got problems. Hell, I was in a rap beef like that, where I was like, I don't got no problems with them. That's y'all's problem. There are hundreds of thousands of people in Pakistan and India that feel like that. That being said, you can't have a movement without some people, without some extremists. So at the end of the day, listen, no one's exempt. Nobody likes colonizers. There's kind of no good guys in this, right? And let us pray that they figure this out, okay? Because I don't know if we could have another like back to back type beef that we've had. I just did you a very underwhelming catch up to what's happening. Now, let's talk about the man that hit a cop with his car. Next. All right, we're back. Here we go. This is a complicated story if you value life, peace, justice, and freedom. This is complicated. It's also complicated if you exist in intersections like we always do. I am a Black man. I'm also a father. So this is a tough story. Rodney Hinton Jr., okay, probably gave us one of the most iconic videos and shots that, guys, it makes me step back and think of things that Dr. King said, which was, I've said it many times, but in reference to the riots of the 60s in Watts, he says, my stance is and will always be of nonviolence. While I don't condone the actions of the citizens of Watts, I understand it. The city has been a counterpeg waiting to blow for many centuries. You can't oppress people. You can't treat people like they're subhuman for so long without them eventually fighting back. We've made this comparison many times, and I am not the first or only person to make this comparison. The police, for most people of color, and now you can add ICE, feel like an insurgent force. They are an invading gang. They move like a gang. They demand tribute. It feels like extortion. They're dangerous, but they get to generally hide behind a badge. Now, the pushback I could always feel is the same pushback y'all could always feel when we talk about policing. Everybody wants somebody on the other side of the phone when your house is getting broken into. Everyone does. What I don't want is for that person to come and shoot me after I called, or to even murder the person that broke into my house. I don't desire a murder. But here's this case in Cincinnati, Ohio. Ryan Hinton, allegedly was inside of a stolen car that was pursued by the police, and the four gentlemen that were inside of the police got out and ran. Now, according to the body reports, he was shot in his back multiple times, which means he was running. The body cam footage says he had a gun. He's got a gun. He's got a gun. He's pointing it at me. And then there's also a video of a gun somewhere in the vicinity. The issue is that might be true. There might have been a gun. That is also very possible that no, there wasn't. Either way, officer unloaded on this 18-year-old boy. And the very next day, the father, oh man, I can't. I need it. Damn. Rodney Hilton Jr., which I think would be an open and shut case, which is like, this is temporary insanity, where he finds an officer who was just a retired deputy named Larry Henderson, who was doing directing traffic. He drove his car into him and took his life. And obviously the families are sad, they're outraged, but it's complicated. And in that, this man willingly went inside the court, willingly was ready to face the jury. But as this happens, in the courtroom, there's about 30 officers lined up on the side of the courtroom. And this man, while he is in his bail hearing where he didn't get it, keeps his chin up, looks them officers in the face, walks by one, because you can't back down to gangs. You can't back down to bullies. Because what happens is our sons keep dying. Now, I am not one that was defending Mangione in the beginning of the year. I am one that's saying the same things that Dr. King was saying. I understand it. I understand having to watch footage of your son being murdered and losing all sense of direction. I also understand being very clear-minded of like, you've taken enough of ours collectively. Because the thing about the oppression experience in the Black community is it's very collective, right? But don't think we don't have good sense, because you see anybody defending Diddy? We understand there's two sides of this story. There are times that, like I said, yes, the government has conspired to take down many successful Black men. It happens all the time, where the system works against us once we get too successful. And we're also just human too. Some of these niggas is scumbags. But even the most hardened of criminals is still somebody's son. If he stole that car and he was running, catch him. I'm sure this young man's father would understand if his boy was out there committing crime and now he's being held. This wouldn't make the news, because he'd be just another lost Black boy who is not going to get the same chances that a lot of other little white boys get. See, the little white boys, they get the boys will be boys thing. You know, you get it. You're young, you're dumb, you're fuck up as a kid. It is what it is. No, we die. Right? So this father, in what I can only imagine is a fit of grief that makes you lose your mind, took matters into his own hands. Is it a homicide? That's for the courts to decide. Is it a manslaughter? I mean, yes. So is it a murder? Probably. Was Luigi Mangione a murder? Probably. They all seem planned. You just can't push people too far. Eventually they fight back. So we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. He drove that car to the officer and gladly took his time, kept his chin up, walking by all them officers who were clearly there. They say they were there in solidarity with their fallen brother. And black people are like, where's our solidarity for our sons? Because all you're saying is the officer felt threatened. He was doing his job. You have no mercy for our humanity, yet you expect us to have mercy for yours. It's complicated. I don't have an answer for you. My answer is, so we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. He drove that car to the officer and gladly took his time, kept his chin up, walking by all them officers who were clearly there. They say they were there in solidarity with their fallen brother. And black people are like, where's our solidarity for our sons? Because all you're saying is the officer felt threatened. He was doing his job. You have no mercy for our humanity, yet you expect us to have mercy for yours. It's complicated. I don't have an answer for you. My answer is, well, crimes of survival are a product of late stage capitalism. And sometimes people with underdeveloped prefrontal cortexes make stupid decisions. And yes, lands need to have laws, but we don't need a law enforcement that fancies themselves an army. It leads us into situations as such. So as you're looking across the country or across the world, over at India, over at Israel and Palestine, over at the Houthis, over in Ukraine, and you think, how could that ever happen? It's happening now, here. There's so much more to talk about, but my studio's flooded. My feet are in water right now. I have to fix this. I'll talk to y'all Friday. All right, now don't you hit stop on this pod. You better listen to these credits. I need you to finish this thing so I can get the download numbers, okay? So don't stop it yet. But listen, this was recorded in East Los Boyle Heights by your boy Propaganda. Tap in with me at prophiphop.com. If you're into cold brew coffee, we got Terraform Cold Brew. You can go there.com and use promo code HOOD, get 20% off, get yourself some coffee. This was mixed, edited, and mastered by your boy Matt Osowski, killing the beat softly. Check out his website, mattosowski.com. I'm going to spell it for you because I know. MATTOSOWSKI.com, mattosowski.com. He got more music and stuff like that on there, so go and check out the heat. Hood Politics is a member of Cool Zone Media, executive produced by Sophie Lichterman, part of the iHeartMedia Podcast Network. Your theme music and scoring is also by the one and only Matt Osowski, still killing the beat softly. So listen, don't let nobody lie to you. If you understand urban living, you understand politics. These people is not smarter than you. We'll see y'all next week.